Hi guys, this is Abhishek here. I'm gonna share and take you through some etiquettes of the presentation, etiquettes of the plan, like we call it. Now, I have divided this entire training into three parts. First, I'll be taking you through the basic etiquettes, okay, which is basically pre-plan and during the plan etiquettes. Etiquettes is nothing but how you should behave, what are the things you should take care of, and all of those things. Then I'm going to take you through a concept called edification, and then we'll go through something which is the post-plan etiquettes. What should you do after the presentation is over? All right. So I hope this is going to be very useful. I'm sure this is going to be complete in all ways, and I will try my level best to cover as much as I possibly can. But in case some things do get left out, I'm sure your working upline will help you with it. So before we dive into the basics of etiquettes, let's first understand why is this really important. So guys, now first thing you have to understand is that the attention to detail is where the magic is, and that means that we leave out the small aspects of things. Now think about it. When you're cooking biryani and you have all the spices that you need to put, you put in everything, you've taken extra precaution and care to do everything except missing out one key ingredient, let's say the salt. Do you think that biryani or that food, whatever you've made, will ever taste good? The smallest of the things, when missed out, make the entire thing look not good. And which is why the etiquettes are important, because we do a lot of good prospecting and we do inviting very well and we do everything well. The presentation, the person who's going to present is going to do a great job. But if you don't take care of these small little things, then the entire picture is not going to come out well. Okay, and the reason why we take care as Infinity, we have this culture of taking care of everything to the minutest detail, is because we want the prospects, the people, our guests who are coming in to meet us, we want them to feel like they belong here. They should be comfortable. They should see the professionalism we have. They should they should understand that the system is working, which is working, and it's working beautifully. And somebody obviously said that if you fail to plan, you really plan to fail. So when you're having a presentation, when you have a personal plan happening, don't you think you should be prepared, well prepared in advance, right? And when you do all of this, the entire process is going to flow. It's going to be seamless. It's going to be like A.R. Rahman singing, you know what I mean? All right, so let's dive right into the basic etiquettes. To start with, let's look at grooming. Yes, my guys, dress to impress. Now, what does this mean? Doesn't mean that you go and get yourself an Armani suit. You can if you like to. That's perfectly all right, but doesn't have to be. But dress well. If you're coming in from work, maybe carry a spare set of clothes, especially if you know that you sweat in whichever city, country you live in. Okay, if you know that your shirt's gonna be get ironed by the time you get to association in the evening, carry an extra, pair of clothes, maybe. Okay, but dress well. So have the right kind of clothes match. Okay, just don't come around with anything and everything. And if you're not sure, okay, it's okay to take advice from people who know how to dress well. I'm not one of the people who knows how to dress very well myself, but I never found it awkward to check with people who do dress well. Okay, so which shoes go well, which belts, which colors match well. I don't understand these things so well, so I choose to take advice from people because it's important to project well. And remember, whether you have a presentation or you don't, when you land up at association, somebody is having a presentation. So you are a part of a group where the prospect is going to be looking and judging everybody. So this is not just when you have a plan, this is anyways. When you land up in association, dress to impress. Smell well. Now, it's a good practice to, possibly have a toothpaste, a toothbrush, a deodorant, okay, a shoe polish or a brush, all of a kit like that in your car or in your bag, a small kit. so that you can quickly groom yourself, feel fresh. Guys, a lot of what we do in our business is about our attitude. Okay, what's going on inside our mind. And would you agree that when you look good, when you're smelling well, when you're fresh, okay, your attitude changes. Okay, you feel good, and when you feel good, you do things better. All right. So groom yourself. Okay, ladies, you know what to do. Okay, your hair, okay, the makeup, if you do apply makeup, and I'm sure many of you do, okay, eyeliners, stuff like that. I'm not sure what all are the things that you may use. Okay, gentlemen, you must shave. You must, if you have a beard, it must be trimmed. If you apply gel, whatever, look good. Basically, the idea is that you should look good. Okay, you should look good. When somebody comes to that association, they should feel like, I want to associate. They shouldn't look at you and say, oh my god, let's run away from this guy. Or let's not be here, my god. Is this the kind of people who work here? No, they don't. You don't want to give that impression, whether you have a plan or not. Make sense, guys? Second, when you have a plan, you've got to organize the seating arrangement. So choose a table preferably which is not right in the center of the association where there's so much buzz going on. Right now, that can only happen when you come well in time, by the way, because the coffee shops that we work out of, they're buzzing all the time. And if you come like 2 minutes before the presentation is starting and you expect that you get a good table, unlikely. So I have a practice of, if I have a personal plan, I would usually land up coming more than half an hour earlier, right? So I'll come and do my stuff, whatever, but I'll block a table, okay, which suits my profile, which is something which will help me get the best out of my presentation, because this is my presentation, right? Okay, I need to make it work. I want this guy to sign up with me. True. So I have to do my level best, and this is what I mean by attention to detail, right? And also make your prospect sit in a distraction feature, which means that don't let him face the world, don't let him face the television. Okay, if you're living in a place like Dubai or many other places like Delhi, maybe Bombay, right, or I don't know, wherever else, okay, you have a lot of pretty women, right? Everywhere in the world, actually. So you put a prospect somewhere in the mall, you're sitting, and there's this beautiful, gorgeous lady walking by, and you've lost him, right? You know, men will be men. You can't help it. Okay, so give him a distraction feature. The only thing he sees is the wall, or the only thing he has the ability to see is the presenter. That's it. Now, ideally, how I manage things is, uh, if there's a, let's say, just give an example, if there's a table of four, there's a square table. So I will sit on the chair where I want the presenters to sit, correct? Opposite me, I would like on the next chair, the chair next to me, I will keep my bag, because that is where I'm going to sit. And the seat in front of me is where I would like the prospect to sit, where he does not have a distraction, right? So this is usually how I will manage the show. And when the presenter finally comes, I will get up, I will give my chair that I'm sitting on to him, and I will take the chair with the bag, and I will take the other chair, whatever. Does that make sense? I'm hoping it does. Okay, I know I couldn't. I'm just saying it to you, but I couldn't like really draw it here. But I believe you would have understood. All right. Now, if you have two people coming together, like a husband, wife, mother, son, a boyfriend and a girlfriend, don't separate them on the table. Which means don't make one person sit on the left side of the table, the other on the right, because the presenter cannot talk to both of them. Like, he'll become a squint talking to both of them. That doesn't work. So make them sit together so that the prospect together, or as in when the presenter is talking, he or she can talk to both of them together without having to move his face from one side to the other. All right. And usually a lot of times these days in coffee shops, you will notice that one table has different kinds of chairs. So one's a sofa, comfortable sofa, one's a stool, okay, the other is a chair, right? Please don't make your presenter sit on a stool or a chair if there's a better seating available. The best chair has to go to your presenter, and we're going to talk a little more about it in some time. but just for your understanding, the best chair has to go to your presenter. Does that make sense? Now, the things that you should carry. Carry a notepad, not a pad. Don't carry the stolen pieces of paper from your workplace. All right. Don't carry an exercise copy from your son's school which has not been used, folded in half, put in your back pocket. You're talking about $1 million project. Let's project it in that way. Yes. So have a good quality pad. Okay. Preferably blank. Okay. And you should have it handy with a pen which writes. Don't carry a fake Montblanc with no refill in it. Okay. It's okay to have a normal pen, but it should write well. It should be, and okay, have a spare pen extra, right? And just in case it stops working. Now the presenters usually will have all of these things, but as an IR, it is your responsibility that nothing goes wrong, right? Because it's your plan. Carry a registration form. If you don't have one, check with your working upline. They'll provide you with a copy of it. Take a few prints, carry it at all times. Have a laptop or a tablet, something like that. Because when you sit into a presentation, you want the people to sign up. Right? So how will a person sign up if you don't have a laptop or a tablet? Okay, now, I know this is stupid to even say, but ensure it's charged. Oh my God. Do you have a laptop? Oh yes. I'm sorry, but I don't have the PowerPoint. It's not charged. What the hell are you doing with that laptop, man? Right? So have a laptop which is charged. God, things we have to mention, right? Okay. And come on, internet is important, right? So if you're sitting in a coffee shop, ensure that there's Wi-Fi. If there's no Wi-Fi, carry a dongle. If there's no dongle, have enough data on your phone which you can immediately start. But be prepared with all of these things is what I'm saying. It should not be that when the prospect says, okay, let's start, okay, and then you're running helter-skelter, okay, where can I find Wi-Fi? You're going to the coffee shop, waiting for 5 minutes because there's a customer that they're serving already, trying to figure out, and then coming online, logging in. No, you just have all of these things ready with you. Connect your laptop to the internet even before the prospect comes. Why not? All right, so can be done. True? Few do's. On time is late. Of course, you'll not get a good chair, man. You would not get a good table. You'll not get a good setup. If you're coming on time, when I say on time, just about when the prospect and the presenter is about to come, you're late. You've already lost it. You will not get a good place. So you've already not paid the attention to your details. Outnumber your guests means if there are two of them coming, okay, three of you should be sitting. So your presenter, you, and maybe one more person. All right. If there's one person coming, then you and your presenter is good enough. But outnumber. Okay. Now this is a psychological play that when there are more people on the other side, there is more posture. Okay, and people understand. It's not a pressure tactic, I would say. Right? Like a lot of people misrepresent this to be a pressure tactic. It's not. It's just that, okay, it just kind of means, okay, that, okay, we're here and we know the stuff that we're talking about. All right, and we're here. We're all here. Right? It also demonstrates that there are a lot of people who are working on this. Okay, there are more people to help you. There are more people to support you. All right, and of course, when the presentation is going on, nod. Now, if you're an Indian, you must be wondering which nod. Vertical nods, horizontal nods, diagonal nods, all sorts of nods we have. But nod when the presenter is talking, you agree to something, you disagree to something. Your body language should be, now don't talk in between. Okay, don't talk in between, but nod. Okay, so agree, disagree. If your presenter is cracking up a joke, laugh. If you might have heard it 200 million times before, but laugh. Okay, don't be like, listen, I've heard this one so many times before, now I'm not going to laugh on this one. It's your presentation, guys. Okay, and now most of the times, the jokes are actually funny, right? Like I know, for example, my upline, whenever he does plans, and I've been through maybe hundreds of his plans, and every time I sit, I still laugh, not because I have to. I really find him funny, man. Correct? Okay, you should ensure that your phone's on silent, right? You must have the referrer code and the placement details handy. If you don't know what that means, Talk to your working upline. They'll tell you what's a referral code, what's a placement detail, how can you have it handy. Not just the prospect's phone, by the way, your phone also. And not just your phone, the prospect's phone also. So you should tell the prospect before the presenter comes in, guys, let's both of us put our phones on silent. Okay. For the next couple of hours, let's not get distracted. And guys, pay attention and listen to the presentation. Right? The presentation is not just for the prospect, the presentation is for you to learn. So you can make notes, check with the presenter if that's okay, but you can make notes. Pay attention, learn. What is he saying? Why is he saying it? All right. And sometimes after the presentation, you can have a conversation with the presenter and learn from him why he did what he did, he or she did. Okay. For God's sake, don't take your phone on the side and pretend like nobody else is seeing and put updates on Facebook and WhatsApp and stuff like that. Right. So don't do all of those things. Okay. So getting to the don'ts, of course, don't dethrone the presenter. What that means is the presenter is doing what the presenter has to do. The presenter knows best what needs to be done in that situation, may have a certain flow of thoughts. Now you don't say, no, this slide comes after this, I think you forgot that. Let me explain. Okay, why don't you show him the numbers also? Let the presenter decide. No, Baba. Why do you have to dethrone the presenter? The presenter knows exactly what is the best thing to do. Have that faith, okay, on your upline, on your presenter, that okay, these people know, they know what they're doing, okay, better than me because they've done it more than me, right? Okay, and definitely don't do a plan after a plan. I finished a plan and the IR is sitting with the prospect for another 2 hours and doing everything that I had decided not to show that person. Don't do it. That is pure de-edification, and we're going to talk about that in a bit. Don't yawn. Some of you get so bored. Oh my God. Now I agree that not every presenter is capable of holding your attention, but whose plan is it? Whose business is it? Right? What impression are you leaving with your prospect? Oh my God, this is so boring and I have to go through it on a daily basis. Damn. The presenter might not understand that you are tired today. So freshen up. Okay, get yourself an espresso. Have a coffee before you get into the plan. Right? And okay, now when I'm talking about me, or don't order a 7-course meal, when you have a prospect who is very close to you, offer them a coffee, but offer them a coffee or a drink, whatever it is, before calling the presenter to the table. By the time the presenter comes to the table should be clean. Okay, the coffee should have finished, yours and for your prospect. Correct? And definitely don't order for food. I was doing a plan and one of my downlines, she ordered a pizza. Right? I sit down, I start talking to the prospect, and suddenly the waiter brings a pizza, and I'm like, okay, holy cow, what is this? Right? So don't order food to eat, just a drink. Finish all of that before your presenter comes to the table. Right? And of course, before the presenter comes, when you're inviting the presenter to come to the table, ask him, can I get you something? Can I get you a glass of water? Can I get you a drink? Can I get you a coffee? Right? Go order it. So the only drink that should be on the table when the presenter comes is for the presenter, and maybe water for your prospect also, that's fine, right? But don't become a waiter. Like when the presenter comes, you're asking at that time, and then you're asking the prospect, and then you're going off to don't do all of those things. If you want to offer your prospect anything, it should be done before the presenter comes, and you should have finished before the presenter comes. You only invite the presenter to the table once that is done. And guys, don't become a disturbance. If you're new in the association and you made new friends, right? It's fun, right? Because you meet so many amazing people at association, okay? And people start pouring in after work, okay, one at a time. And you're sitting in a plan and you see one of your friends there, like, hey, no, don't, cool, it's okay. You don't have to do that. Don't disturb the presentation. Just focus. Concentrate on your plan. They're not going anywhere. Those guys are going to be there every day. Okay, you will have a chance to meet them. Okay, don't look left and right and smile, and just focus on your presentation. Because every time you are looking somewhere else, you are getting distracted. What do you think is happening to your prospect? The prospect also wants to look who are you smiling at, right? So don't do that. Does that make sense? Now edification. Next. Now many of you may have heard of this word. Most of you may not have heard of this word. It is nothing but creating a bridge between the prospect and the presenter. Your prospect does not know the presenter. Most likely. They're meeting for the first time. So why should your prospect listen to whatever your presenter is saying? So you got to introduce. There has to be an introduction. But a bare introduction, a normal introduction is not enough. You can't say this is Ravi, Ravi, this is Manish. You can't say that. That's not good enough. There has to be a bridge which has to be created. Now, when I'm talking about a bridge, why is this important? To help empower your presenter land right. Because if I'm the presenter, this guy doesn't know me, you have invited him for something, right? Now, who am I? Why should he listen to me? So you have to create something which is called an imbalance between the presenter and the prospect. So if you just understand physics, do you know that things flow when there is a slope? So if you have something like a fulcrum and you've got a little plank on that fulcrum and you put a marble on one side, if the plank is absolutely straight 180 degrees, the marble is not going to go anywhere, right? But when there is a slight slant, the marble will flow to the other side, right? It will roll over to the other side. And that is exactly what you need to create as an imbalance between your prospect and the presenter. When you've got to create the presenter, put a presenter in such a way that the presenter, whatever they say, flows to your prospect. Your prospect receives whatever the presenter is saying. You've got to give the presenter the upper hand. And why do that? Because that's what is going to get you the results. Only if the presenter, what they're saying, lands to your prospect, will that person, if the person is open to listening to him, if they're receptive, will that person sign up. So you give credit to your presenter, you get cash. Simple. Give credit, get cash. And that is why it is important. So you got to keep in mind though, that while you're creating an imbalance, you got to be authentic. I remember one of my downlines once introduced somebody, saying that this guy used to work with a bank, now he owns a bank. Now that's bullshit. Okay, don't exaggerate. Okay, be authentic. All right. Edification doesn't mean lying. Huh? Edification just means that you project something. Like, you remember if you saw Ramayana, Mahabharata, and you saw those. You remember those times when the king used to walk in? There used to be this soldier who used to make this announcement. Indraprasth ke Maharaj, Suryavanshi, Maharaj Dhritarashtra, God knows, right? Okay, with all that pomp. Why? That is edification. That is edification, right? But it is done in a way that that person is the king. Why does the king sit on a throne which is way above where everybody else sits? Why? Because that's edification. That is how other people, the subjects, the people who are there, listen. He is put in a place of power to be able to make those decisions, to be able to influence, to be able to do the things which will eventually run the kingdom. Yeah? So be authentic. Don't exaggerate. Do it in a way that it edifies, yes, but also know the facts. Okay? Know the basics, right? What we call as the technical edification, the technical aspect of the person you're presenting. What his experiences are, which, how many years has the person been in the business, where are the person, building the business, correct? Okay, what was his job profile before, or if that person is still working, what does he work as? Basic facts. And remember this. If you do not edify, you are going to do de-edification. And we're going to talk a little more about that. The opposite of edification is de-edification, and we will talk about that in a bit. So you've got two kinds of edifications. You've got verbal and you've got non-verbal. Verbal is what you say. So when you're saying something about something, you're edifying something, that's verbal. But that's not the most powerful one. The most powerful one where most people screw up really is the non-verbal one. Because you might be saying the right things, but if you're doing the wrong things, it doesn't work. Right? Like for example, you're sitting on a table, you're talking to your prospect and you're doing an edification of the person who's about to come. So you're sharing about his story, your journey, whatever else, right? And you're saying you're creating that imbalance that this person is successful. Okay, this person used to work as an associate vice president, and okay, this person is a CFA and he's an MBA, whatever else that you're saying. You're creating that imbalance. Okay, making the prospect look forward to meet this successful person who's coming on board or coming to the table. And when your presenter comes to the table, or when you call the presenter, you say, "Ha Daga, aja." Correct? That's de-edification verbally. Right? Or even worse, when finally the presenter comes, you don't even bother to get up. That's non-verbal de-edification, right? Now this is where most people screw up because they don't understand. When your presenter is sitting, if you just say, "Can I pour you some water?" and you open the bottle, take the glass, pour the water it's not such a big deal, but it talks about your edification. It shows that yes, you have respect. Now why edify? Like I have heard so many people say, "Yeah, but I don't want to do something which is fake." It's not fake, guys. Do you realize your presenter, the people, your uplines, how hard they work to make you successful? Are you going to give a part of your check to your upline or these presenters? You have one working upline who's working for you. Your working upline may have hundreds of people that they have to support. So whether they support you or not, it doesn't matter to them. If they are taking out the time to support and help you, are you even grateful enough? And if you are grateful, then you should be able to edify, right? Okay. I am so grateful for my upline. So grateful for my upline for everything he does. He doesn't need to do it. I'm not even a dot in his organization, but he does so much for me all the time. And that is exactly the culture that we have built in our teams. Because we help, because we support, and tomorrow when you do the same, when you work with your heart and you support your teams will edify you. So that, of course, they're not edifying you to fill up your ego. Edification is not done to fill up the ego of the presenter. Edification is done for you to get your results and your plans. I hope that makes sense for you. Right? So verbal edification, non-verbal edification, there's edification and then there's de-edification. Now, how do you edify? 3 steps. A bit of the corporate profile and education. So where do they work? Okay, he's an MBA, HR accountant, whatever. The person you're going to meet. Correct? I met this person about a year back. I didn't know him less than a year back. Okay. And over a year's time, okay, the kind of transformation that I've gone through, I owe it completely to this gentleman. Right? I have become closer to him than I have been to many other people that I've known for years, purely because though he's so successful, he has a heart of gold. You will not find somebody so knowledgeable, okay, so successful, but yet so humble. Very, very rare find. In fact, and then you talk about some experience, correct? In fact, when I had started out, okay, I remember one particular day, okay, where I didn't even know who this person was, and we were having dinner and everything, okay, and I wanted a certain thing, and he came and served me the food, and I was like, thank you so much. And when I figured out who this person later was, right, I was like, shucks, man, really? This person actually served me the food? And I really understood how humble this person is. He didn't care, right? And when you meet him, you will have the same feeling, right? You look at him, you will not know who this person is. You have no idea, the way he dresses. You will just not even take a second look at him. But when you get to know who he really is, that is when you will realize that, my God, what a humble person. Are you getting what I'm saying? It's a one quality, humility. But you could talk about anything. I'm just giving you an example. All right. But then edification has to be done with your heart. Okay. Corporate profile, all of this, yes. But that is of the smallest aspect. If you can do a good edification, guys, I will tell you one thing. This is the most important aspect of you, because if you edify well, the imbalance gets created. If the imbalance gets created, your presenter will land to your prospect, and if your presenter's communication lands to your prospect, and if the prospect is looking, he or she is bound to come on board. Eventually you build your team, you grow, you become successful. Yes. Now let's talk a little bit about the post plan etiquettes. Once the plan gets done, what next? Like I had shared earlier, do not re-explain or share parts of the plan missed out. Now the presenter would usually have come with, left the table either after signing up the person or agreeing on certain things, that okay, let's do this, watch this video, let's connect tomorrow, okay, or let's meet day after tomorrow, okay, let's meet tomorrow with your wife or husband, something like that. Now your job, okay, and the presenter may have asked you, okay, that why don't you introduce him to XYZ? May or may not. If the presenter has not asked you, then either you check with the presenter, should I, or if not, after the, okay, or if he says no, then don't do it. But if he has asked you, or if the presenter said yes, go ahead, then please introduce your prospect to not more than 1 or 2 people and try and match the profile. Let's say your prospect is a housewife. Don't introduce her to a private banker. It just does not land. If your prospect is an engineer, try and introduce this person to a similar profile. If your prospect is Arabic speaking, introduce the person to maybe an Arabic speaking person, right? But introduce the prospect to a person who has been in the business for a long duration and is a growing and working upline to his team. Okay? Not anybody and everybody. Has to be a growing and working upline to his team. So you obviously know in the association who are the working uplines. Only those people you should introduce your prospects to. And before you take your prospect to meet that person, edify again. Edify that person. You don't have to talk a big deal, a little bit, 2 or 3 lines. Right? This person that you're meeting, okay, he's got one of the biggest teams around here. Almost everybody sitting in this coffee shop is part of his team. Okay, you will love talking to him. He's a sweetheart. That's it. Come, introduce. Right? And when you introduce, take a moment to tell the person you're introducing, okay, first take permission. May I please? First go to him, take permission. If that person agrees, then take your prospect to that person. Right? And tell that person, okay, that Abhishek just met this gentleman, okay, and he's gone through the financials and everything, and he's going to take a day to come on board with us. So where has the presentation been done? Okay, or if the plan has not been completely done, he's just been qualified. Okay, so he's been explained what we require. Okay, and he's going to come back with his family tomorrow or day after, and we're going to sit again. So that the person who's meeting, okay, the working upline who's meeting your prospect knows what to say. Right? Don't introduce to too many people. 1, maximum 2. All right? And that too, if the presenter has said, if he said no, then don't. Now, once this is done, just re-edify the presenter, correct? Or even before introducing, once the presenter leaves the table, just re-edify the presenter, right? That, man, I'm so happy for you to have met Manish. Okay, it looks like he's really liked you. Okay, and believe me, working with him is the best thing that you could ever do. Just hold his hand and jump in. I promise it's going to be amazing. Transfer your belief. If you're introducing, introduce and then immediately move on. Not more than 2 to 5 minutes. All of this. Don't talk anything about it. The person has any questions, this, that, the other. Okay. Ask, why don't you check with him? He asked you if you have questions, right? You should have checked with him. Anyways, I'm new. I may not be able to explain it to you, right? But let me just check if he can come back and introduce. But you don't answer any questions for him at this point of time. Don't try to, because one question will lead to the other. Unless you have gone through the objection handling and closing trainings and you understand exactly what to do. If you're new, if you're anything less than a year, if you're not a presenter, then don't do it. Don't try to answer the questions. Get the presenter back, or if not immediately, call him back, call that person back and get that done later. But you move on. 2 to 5 minutes. Don't go back in that person's car even if you live in the same building. Don't go out for dinner. Okay, move to the next meeting. Tell that person, okay, I just need to head. I got another meeting to get to. There's another training that I'm attending. Okay, I have to finish some stuff, so I'll catch you later, right? So I will call you as discussed tomorrow at 6 o'clock in the evening, and move on. You don't have to go and drop him to the car or to the metro or drive him to some place. Let that person go the same way they came. All right, and that kind of sums up what I had to share in terms of the etiquettes, right? I hope I have not missed a lot. In case I have, I'm sure your working uplines will help you. Guys, let me tell you, this is the most important part of our business. If you do this well, and it's very simple, I'm sure each one of you are going to shine and grow. All right, so ready to get rolling? I hope you are. All the best, guys. Thank you.